All right. It is on Facebook. I even had the post ready before I hopped on the Zoom call.
I usually do, but I'm slow tonight.
Let's see. I think yeah, I got everything. I'm excited to hear about this dumpster fire you're going to talk about tonight. Uh
Let me delete that and retweet this. I feel like we haven't been
oh,
here in months.
that's usually what happens when we don't do a show. It feels like weeks and months go by.
We got to think about doing our commentary track too soon, if we can even fit it in this month. Because I have to do a
Mm,
commentary track with with Jacob probably either Wednesday or Thursday.
what are you guys doing a commentary track on?
I'm not sure. We're doing that this month on for open micers instead of doing something painful for Jacob.
Understandable.
So if we can, let's try to fit a commentary track in this weekend. Um, might have to do another short one.
Yeah, I know Saturday night I can't do anything. I could do Saturday morning. Sunday I think will be pretty open
Yeah, I think
for
Saturday's
me.
out for me. So if we can get one Sunday, yeah. If not, I don't think the patrons would kill us if we make it another week or so before we get one out.
We could always do like we could always double down on something to make up for not putting one out if we
Yeah.
can't get one in.
Or we could do like a quick review of something instead of a commentary track.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what we could review.
Mm,
I mean, the first 3 episodes of Andor will be out by then
yeah,
because those drop Wednesday.
we could do that. We'll
Could
see.
always revisit the Cobra Kai.
Yeah. Hello, Rampage.
Rampage.
But I guess we better go ahead and get this thing started.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. In three, two, one. Greetings, programs, and we are back for another episode of the Nerd Cave Retro Show. My name is Jason Robbins.
And my name is Derek Diamond.
Feels like it's been months since we've been here on a Monday evening.
You know, I was actually thinking about this. When was the last time we missed a week of the show? Like not someone subbing in for me, but just straight up not doing a normal episode of Nerd K Retro. It's been probably a year,
At least. At
close
least
to
a
it,
year.
yeah. Probably since the end of last baseball season for me.
I think so. But we did release, me and Wally did a news dump that we released to the public in lieu of a episode last week because Derek had some car troubles and we couldn't do the show.
I couldn't physically make it to do the show.
That's okay. I don't think the patrons will kill us for taking some shows off here and there.
Yeah, I think so.
But how was your week?
Well, it's funny because I mentioned car trouble. I got to go on vacation this past week. It's the first vacation I've had since I started my new job. Got to go to Charleston, South Carolina for a week. Got to see Elton John in concert, which was amazing. One of, if not the best concerts I've ever been to in my entire life.
That's cool.
It was good to just, kind of get away for a week. I haven't really done that in quite some time. So it was good to kind of get away and recharge the batteries. Got back late Friday and then Sunday wrapped up filming for the feature. So it
Yes.
is all in the can. Now all we got to do is the fun post production process of editing and then editing the sound and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully within the next month or so we'll have a finished product.
That'll be so cool. I'm ready to see it. I'm sorry I couldn't
Yeah,
help you
I
out with this one, but it's just been a busy summer, man.
it has. I'm sure you know. I mean, it's not going to be another 3 years before I do another one. So already got two other ideas in the works. So, but what about you?
I've been working like all the time. I haven't had a lot of spare time to do much gaming. I did the last thing I think I played was actually Karate Kid, which I streamed. Was it last week or the week before? I don't even remember now. Like the last week and a half, 2 weeks, just been a blur.
I'm sorry you had to stream that.
It's all right. I had fun, but I'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah,
Other than that, I did get to see Clerks 3 in the theater.
I did too. Yes.
And I'm just going to say, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but if you're a Clerks fan and you haven't seen it yet, just prepare yourself because this is a heavy, heavy movie.
Much heavier than I expected it to be. And it still has the iconic Kevin Smithisms. If you've seen his movies like Clerks, Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob, you know what those are. But this, I think it's probably his best movie he's ever done.
I think so too. And I would actually, it is a comedy because there's comedy in it, but I would actually categorize this one as a drama more than anything.
Yeah, it's really like almost an even split where like I don't want to say anything because it'll spoil it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, just if you're a Kevin Smith fan, if you're a Clerks fan, definitely see it. It's worth seeing, but just prepare yourself because you're not prepared.
Well, I know that Kevin Smith's going to be doing like a tour where he's going to do a Q&A in addition to showing the movie because its theatrical run is over.
Yeah.
But if you live in say like in Atlanta or somewhere he's going to be, I definitely go because it's worth seeing. And Kevin Smith's Q&As are always great,
Oh
so
yeah.
you get the bonus of seeing that.
I got to go to the Q&A he did with Red State, and it was worth. And back then, it was $65 a ticket. Back then, I don't know what it is now. And that was in what 2010, 2011 when that movie came out. So I don't know what the price is now, but it's definitely worth it because he talks for like 3 hours.
Yeah, I went to a Q&A he did in Orlando back. I want to say it was the end of 2014. He didn't have a movie out at the time, but just hearing him tell stories, I could listen all day
Oh yeah,
when it comes to him. So
but
if you live in one of the areas where they're showing it, it's worth it.
yeah, go see it. Trust
But
us.
it's a very very good movie.
Bring tissues.
Yes.
And on that note, you ready to go and get into the news for this week?
Yes, sir.
Today's stories were submitted to us by I Am the Rampage and Armez Jackson. And if you have a story you'd like us to cover, send them to nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. And these are a little late since we didn't have the show last week, but they're still relevant. So we're going to go through all of these that we have in the news doc here. But first off, from Kotaku.com, GameStop has been accused of wiretapping customers without their consent. A suit has been filed in California accusing games retailer and NFT clearance house GameStop, and that was a dig at them right there, of recording conversations that customers have with the company's support service, then sharing the secret transcripts of those wiretaps with a third party that boasts of its ability to harvest personal data. Class action suit filed by Miguel A. Lycia in a federal court and first reported by Bloomberg says GameStop covertly wiretaps the communications of all visitors who utilize the chat feature at GameStop.com and shares the secret transcripts of those wiretaps with a third party that boasts of its ability to harvest personal data from the transcripts for marketing and other purposes. Defendant neither informs visitors nor obtains their prior express consent in these conclusions.
I love that they started out by calling them an NFT clearance house. That just made me laugh hysterically.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean this is pretty cut and dry. Like you can't do that
Yeah.
and not expect to get in trouble, you know? Like
And usually when you
if
go on the like you call like customer service or something, they'll usually be like this recording may be or this call may be recorded for, training
quality
purposes or
assurance
yeah,
purposes,
quality assurance purposes. But you can't take that and sell it to a third party without consent.
just because you say that it may be recorded, like you said, doesn't give you distribution rights. Yeah, it sucks because I feel like, GameStop has had such a bad rep for other reasons for a long time.
Yeah.
But we've been more positive to them, I think, over the last, year or two, you especially.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I think that their yearly thing that you get is worth it for, $10 and you basically you do their what do they call it, GameStop rewards, and you
mhm.
get a free $5 per month, and I would just go get Nintendo points. You have to spend $5 to get the $5, but that was a lot of games I got for free. But I don't know, with this whole NFT thing they did, and then they took all that money that they got from that weird thing that happened with the what did they call that last year with the stock thing that happened with
I'm trying to remember.
short selling the stocks or whatever, and GameStop ended up making like maybe like $1 billion or something like that off of that, and then they could have used that money to pay employees, to give people raises, to put make their stores better. But I don't know, they just kind of squandered it.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Well, bad
As
management, I guess.
yeah, but lesson to everybody, don't record
Yeah.
other people's conversations and then try to sell them. Like that
unless
ain't cool.
unless you're podcasting, then you can record it and put it wherever you want.
And if it gets a bunch of downloads, then it's worth it.
Yeah.
And I sound like a complete hypocrite saying that, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Our next story comes to us from comicbook.com. Call of Duty, Diablo, and Overwatch confirmed for Xbox Game Pass. Activision Blizzard's hit series like Call of Duty, Diablo, and Overwatch will come to Xbox Game Pass in the future, Microsoft confirmed this week. That much was expected given Microsoft's acquisition of the massive publisher and considering how every other Microsoft owned studio has operated. But this week, Xbox boss Phil Spencer confirmed as much in a post pinned to outline Microsoft's view on the Activision Blizzard acquisition. This post comes amid the ongoing scrutiny towards Microsoft's deal, as it's investigated by various regulators such as the UK's Competition and Markets Authority, which coincidentally just shared an update on its investigation on Thursday as well. Let's see. We intend to make Activision Blizzard's much loved library of games, including Overwatch, Diablo, and Call of Duty, available in Game Pass and to grow those gaming communities, Spencer said. By delivering even more value to players, we hope to continue growing Game Pass, extending its appeal to mobile phones and any connected device. I mean, I think this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I know that Activision and Blizzard have come under a lot of scrutiny, and rightfully so. But I mean, their library of games is pretty notable, and to add those to Game Pass is just going to strengthen Microsoft's stranglehold even more.
And I'm wondering if, because Warcraft is not the powerhouse that it used to be, World of Warcraft, I wonder if they're going to go to a free subscription system and maybe put it on something like Game Pass to get more active players.
That'd be pretty cool, actually. That's a smart idea.
A lot of people would hate that, though, because then they would start doing microtransactions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But I see
that is
that
true.
that eventually might have to happen to World of Warcraft, because I don't know how many people are keeping up their subscriptions at this point. They don't put the numbers out anymore.
Oh, who knows? I don't hate that idea, though.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. And from this next story, this is from one of our favorite sites, NintendoLife.com. The Evercade EXP handheld will come bundled with 18 classic Capcom titles. Initially announced back in May, Blaze Entertainment's Evercade EXP looks like a natural progression of its original Evercade handheld, showcasing a streamlined design with a solid glass covered 800 by 480 pixel 4.5-inch IPS screen and built-in Wi-Fi. Let's see, and they are coming out. Well, here's the list of all Capcom games included: 1942, 43, and 44, The Loop Master, Bionic Commando, Captain Commando, Commando, Final Fight, Forgotten Worlds, Ghouls and Ghosts, Legendary Wings, Mercs, Street Fighter 2, Hyper Fighting, Strider, Vulgus, Mega Man, Mega Man 2, Mega Man X, and Breath of Fire.
I mean, we've talked about this system every now and then on the show, but it seems kind of cool. Like I like that it's modeled after the Switch because I really like the aesthetic of it.
Yeah, it really does
I,
look like a Switch. It just doesn't
I
have the analog sticks.
yeah, I would be tempted to pick one of these up. I'd have to think about it a little more,
It's
but
really not that
I don't.
expensive either. I
No,
mean,
it's
it's
not.
only $150, and the pre-orders are already open. Today is the 19th. Pre-orders went up on the September 6th, and it will launch on November 24th. $150 is not a bad price. Plus, all these games that you get for it. It also comes with a IREM Arcade 1 cartridge, which includes R-Type in the Hunt, Moon Patrol, 10-Yard Fight, Battle Chopper, Mr. Healy, and Lightning Swords.
Yeah, I don't think this would be a terrible pickup. Would you? Speaking of that, I know I can't afford it right now, but I really want a Steam Deck.
Yeah, the Steam Decks are nice.
Yeah, I keep seeing them more and more on Twitter, and I really want one. I think Joey Image posted something about it not too long ago, and I'm like, I want one so badly.
I mean, it's basically it's a full-on gaming computer in your hand.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now that,
they're what, like $800, 700-800 bucks, but
yeah,
you have to get on a list. Like you have to. It's like you get on a list and it's still you put $5 down, and I think you're on a list for like it's like a year out before you would even get one.
I think it'd be worth it though.
Yeah.
One day I'll have one. Next story comes to us from NintendoEverything.com. River City Girls 2 Villains trailer released. Arc System Works and WayForward have readied a new trailer for River City Girls 2 that provides a look at the game's villains. These include Sabuko, the disgraced daughter, Ken, the rich boy Yakuza, and Sabu, the criminal patriarch. Some information about the game, picking up where the first one left off. River City Girls 2 throws hot-blooded high schoolers along with newcomers Marion and Provi into the fight of their lives when an old foe returns to wreak havoc. But the girls and guys aren't just giving up, they're fighting back with new stat-altering accessories, new items, new weapons, and additional moves, such as Kyoko's cartwheel kick and Masako's lightning rider, along with brand new abilities like guard crush attacks and lift-off combos, etc., etc. Other additions include improved quest tracking, 3 difficulty settings, and a dynamic story system with dialogue that changes depending on the player-controlled characters. I never played the original game, so I can't really comment on this much, but I mean, it's cool that a sequel's coming out.
Yeah, and I don't think it's coming out in North America though. It says December 1st in Japan, and I still like. I haven't played the first one either. It looks cool. I'd like to play it.
I I I would think it would eventually make its way here.
Oh yeah, eventually it
I'd be
will.
surprised if it didn't. But I mean, it seems like a cool game.
Yeah.
I'll give it that.
And for our last story, this comes from GameRant.com. Ubisoft is about to shut down the online services for 15 games. Let's see. On September 1st, Ubisoft will be ending online services for Anno 2070, Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, Assassin's Creed 3, Liberation HD, Drivers San Francisco, Far Cry 3, Ghost Recon Future Soldier, Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands, Rayman Legends, Silent Hunter 5, Space Junkie, Splinter Cell Blacklist, and Zombie U. The PC versions of all these games will be impacted, as will the PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii U versions of the game. So, this is why I hate online functioning on games.
If no one played the Wii U versions, do they really count?
I don't know.
I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not surprised. Like we figured stuff like this was going to happen, and I agree with you. That's the downside of the online and digital functionality is that you're dependent on stuff like this. And if it shuts down, you're SOL.
This is why I'm a proponent of physical media at all times.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I like the convenience of the digital download because I don't have to leave my house.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a pro to it, but yeah, I think I'm going to start leaning more towards getting back into the physical copies of things.
And I know that doesn't mean that these games are going to be not functional. I mean, you can still play the games; they just won't have online function. But still, it's just I don't know. There's just the online world is like I don't. It just feels weird to me that like after a while, there's just things about the games you can't do anymore because they're not being supported. I just think that's weird, and it doesn't feel right. Like I want to be able to play these games the way they're meant to be played 50 years from now, as opposed to, the day they were, the same as the day they were released.
Yeah, that is true. There is one other thing that we didn't have in our Google Doc that I just remembered that we should talk about. Did you watch the Nintendo Direct with the new Zelda
Oh
game?
yeah, why did I not put that in here? I'm getting old, man.
Oh, I mean, I just remembered it too. So, and I'm like the Zelda fanatic of the show. So, yeah. So Nintendo had a direct last week, and they ended it with finally confirming one, the new title for the Breath of the Wild sequel, which is
Tears.
Tears of the
Yeah.
Kingdom, and the release date, which is May 12th, 2023. And I'm very, very curious about the storyline of this game because it's if you've watched the trailer, you get some very serious Skyward Sword vibes.
Yeah, and it's gonna be weird too if this is a direct sequel because I don't think they've ever done a Zelda game with sequential storylines back to back. Have they?
Uh not no, because Majora's Mask was really more like a spin-off. Like it took place
Yeah.
after Ocarina of Time and had the same link, but it wasn't really a direct sequel. I think you might be right. I think this is the first like sequential sequel.
And please, please, Nintendo, for the love of all that is holy, please make it to where the weapons are fixable and not just breakable. Because there's nothing worse than being in the middle of a fight or in the middle of a. And I hope they put dungeons back in. Like the shrines are cool, but give me dungeons. But if I'm in the middle of a fight and I go through every single one of my weapons and I have nothing left to fight with, that sucks.
That's a terrible situation to be in. As they say, it's a bit of a pickle
And why does the
that you
Master
get into.
Sword need to be charged? Just let me have it.
Judging by what I've seen, I don't know how much of use the Master Sword is going to be at least in the beginning of the game. I'm very curious because, like you said, they haven't done a direct sequel storyline wise, and I think they could do something really cool and really unique with this game. I'm a Skyward Sword apologist. I actually like that game. It's not perfect, but there isn't a perfect Zelda game besides Link to the Past, but
Yeah.
that's a whole nother point. But it, yeah, I'm obviously excited about it. I'm gonna get it the day it comes out, and I'm gonna put a lot of hours into it because I like the Zelda franchise. I'm just glad that we're finally getting somewhere. And yeah, May seems like it's far off, but
It'll be here before you know it.
yeah, I mean, as fast as time moves, I mean, we're about to be in October.
Yeah.
Next Saturday is October 1st.
Don't remind
So
me.
so it's like it'll be here sooner than you think. I'm excited for it, obviously.
I am too. I'm gonna play it. I'll be there day one. So they already got 2 copies sold right here.
Yeah, there you go.
But now it is time for this month in video game history. On September 12th of 1986, Hudson Soft releases Adventure Island. I love Adventure Island. That game's so fun.
It looks like a lot of fun. I've heard a lot about it, but I've never played
Oh,
it.
you've never
But
played
one
it?
day, but one day I hope to change that.
It's
Is
one of
it
the
on?
it's one of the first games I played. Probably one of the first 5 games I played for the Nintendo.
It says here it was an adaptation of the arcade game Wonder Boy, which
Yeah,
was developed for Sega. Now I know of that game because I've heard of the Wonder Boy series. One day I'll have to play Adventure Island though. Like it looks fun. It looks like something that I would like.
yeah, it's a really good game. Hudson Soft has always been a really good game company.
Let's see. Next up, September 9th of 1994, Mortal Kombat 2 is released for the Super Nintendo, Game Gear, and Sega Genesis. It was released with all blood and fatalities left intact, the first major release on any Nintendo console at that point to have such content, because we've talked about the debacle with the original Mortal Kombat with removing the blood and everything. So
Slime.
I'm glad that they left that in. A
Yeah,
lot of people prefer Mortal Kombat 2 to the original, actually.
I do. Honestly, I mean, there's more characters. Baraka makes his appearance in 2, and he's my all-time favorite character to play. So I love 2.
Yeah, Baraka has caused me many a frustrating fight.
Oh, I've pissed off way too many people using Baraka back in the day.
We should play Mortal Kombat 2 and film it so then I'll just rage quit. Like I'll
Okay.
just get so angry.
Let's see. September 22nd of 1999, Capcom releases Resident Evil 3 Nemesis for the PlayStation. I did play this a little bit for the PlayStation back in the day, for the PlayStation 2 to be precise. But the remake is very, very good if you have not played it.
It's what I've heard. I think, because we've got October coming up, I think I may finally bite the bullet and play a Resident Evil game for October.
Go get 2. Just play 2. That's all you need to do. Just play 2.
Okay. I'll take your recommendation. And last but not least, for this month in video game history, September 17th of 2002, Traveler's Tales releases Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex for the GameCube. It's popularly known as Crash Bandicoot 4. I think I may actually review this next week.
Cool.
I've actually been thinking about this game off and on for a bit. I've reviewed the other 3, and I remember kind of liking this one, but this was where Crash really started to fade into obscurity because Naughty Dog weren't making the games anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The formula was getting kind of repetitive, so I think I'm going to review this for next week's show.
Awesome. Sounds good to me. And that brings us to the end of this month in video game history. And now it is time, before we go into the review, it is time for Derek to do our Patreon shout-outs.
As always, we'd like to shout out our awesome patrons over at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. Shout out to Daniel Salmon, Tyler Watson, AxeBlade07, Armez Jackson, Carlos Longoria, better known as Rampage, Staff Sergeant Sketch, Gus and Penny, Matthew Salmon, Mike Eveland, Jennifer Eveland, and Mr. Joey Image. Thank you all so much for your continued contributions and keeping the lights on for us here at the Nerd Cave Retro Show. If you want to be a part of our awesome Patreon community, you get early access to our fun commentary tracks. Like this past month, we watched the first episode of Cobra Kai. We've also done other shows like Batman the Animated Series, X-Men, Gargoyles, DuckTales, live action shows like Family Matters, Full House, full-length movies like Clue, Christmas Vacation, all kinds of fun commentary tracks that we've done. It's truly a highlight to do those every month.
Absolutely. So don't forget, if you like the news dump as well, you get that. If you're a patron, even at the $1 level, you get the news dump. So if you got the chance to listen to it last week and you enjoy it, head over to patreon.com/nerdcaveretro, and you will get access to that cool show with me and the fact checker himself, Mr. Wally Phelps. And tonight, I'm going to be reviewing this game right here. Karate Kid for the Nintendo Entertainment System was published by the dreaded, the
The iconic.
the iconic LJN, and developed by the Japanese company Atlas Company Limited. And it loosely, you could say that again, loosely follows plot elements from the first and second Karate Kid films. Now, this game only has 4 levels to it. And you would think 4 levels, that's not very much, but the difficulty curve ramps up so exponentially in between the levels. I can't even get past level 3. I don't even think it's possible to get past level 3. So let me set the stage here for you. This is how the game starts. It starts off, you don't even get to play anything. The only element from the original Karate Kid movie in this game is the game starts at the tournament at the end of the movie. You fight 2 guys, is it 2 or 3? 2 or 3 guys, and then you fight Johnny. And Johnny doesn't even look like Johnny in the game. Like, he looks like he's got like dark hair and like a purple green gi, and like, what is happening here?
It's like
And
you were fighting Dutch instead of Johnny.
yeah, it's so easy to get past this first. You just need to spam the B button. That's all you have to do. That's it. There's no strategy. You just spam the B button. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, it's I haven't played this game, but I watched some gameplay of it when you mentioned you were going to review it. This had potential to actually be a really fun game. Like, you think of Karate Kid franchise, you could have done like a nice side-scrolling beat 'em up where you play as Daniel and you go through the events of the movie. Just go through, high school and beat the crap out of all the Cobra Kai kids,
Yeah.
and then you fight Johnny at the end.
Yeah.
But
They don't do that.
I mean, that makes all the sense in the world, which is exactly why they didn't do that.
90% of this game, I'd say 98% of this game is Karate Kid 2. Because the next level you go to is you go to Okinawa. And you basically go through whatever big set pieces there are in the movie in Okinawa. Like, it's a side scroller. And here's where we messed up. Because this game actually, if this game, and I will say this right now, if this game had better controls, it would have been a decent game. It would have been a playable, decent, well-remembered game. But here's the thing. And I actually watched some YouTube videos about the making of this game. And the way the controls are, like, there's no jump button. You have to do platforming in this game. But there's no jump button. The A button is to punch. The B button is to kick. And to jump, you have to either press up on the D-pad or up and diagonal to jump over, or make a forward or backward jump. You have to do that kind of diagonal. You know how hard that is to do on a D-pad. And I've heard very many people that have reviewed this game and talked about it and talked about the development of it. It's so much easier if you play this game with an NES advantage, because the controls of this game are basically made to be an arcade game with an actual arcade stick.
Yeah, I think this game would be much better suited as either a Super Nintendo game or arcade, because it's a little too complex for the NES controller.
Yeah.
What you need to do in a game like this.
And the thing is the controls would have been fine if it was just sort of like Kung Fu, where you didn't have any platforming. It was just basically a side-scrolling beat 'em up, like Kung Fu or Final Fight, things like that, where you don't do any platforming. You're just on the ground, walking and fighting. If that was the case, controls would have been fine. But you go through this game, and there's platforming in there. There's holes to nowhere that you fall into that if you can't jump over them, and the knockback in this game is atrocious. And if you get caught between 2 enemies back and forth, you're just dead. There's nothing you can do. You're just going to keep getting bounced back and forth until you die, because there's nothing you can do while you're in knockback. There's nothing.
You just cross your fingers and hope Miyagi shows up to help.
And here's the most egregious part of this game, and I think it is in the second level. It's either level 2 or level 3. I'm pretty sure it's level 2 because I don't remember there being wind. We'll get to the wind in a second in level 3. But level 2, you have checkpoints because the levels are they made each level kind of long. I mean, not too long, but you get checkpoints in the level so that you don't have to start all the way back at the beginning. And there's one particular checkpoint in level 2 where every time I died and had to be resurrected at this particular checkpoint, there was a hole in the ground, and you drop. It's one of those games where when you resurrect, you drop down from the top left of the screen. You know, kind of like Ninja Gaiden does, or games like that. You know what I'm talking about? When you just drop back in, you literally fall in the hole.
Please tell me this. Please don't finish that sentence.
You literally you fall from the top of it, like top left of the screen, and you just fall into the hole.
That's so terrible.
And I'm like, why would you leave this in the game? Yes,
Yeah,
I agree, Rampage. In the chat room, he says they could have reskinned Karate Champ and it would have been a better game. I agree.
I don't know. Like
sense.
I say this would have been a better game for the Super Nintendo, but I don't know that it would have sold that well because Karate Kid was like an 80s franchise. I think Karate Kid 3 was 89 and Super Nintendo was 91. So like Karate Kid was already out of, the pop culture relevancy at that point.
Yeah.
But I just keep thinking this game had such potential to be something really fun. But when you put LJN behind it, you're kind of a dead game walking at that point.
And the thing is like you get through the level, you get through level 2, get to the end. It's not that hard. Just don't die where you have to resurrect, where you fall in the freaking hole, or you just end up using up all your continues and you have to start over at the beginning. And so you get to the end of the level and you have to fight Chosen at the end of the level. Just spam the B button again. Just kick him. Just kick him and you're good. There's no strategy. Just spam the B button. And here's the thing. You go through the game and you collect letters on the screen. Like when you kill somebody, a power-up will pop up on the screen, either a C or a D. And you get either a drum punch or a D for drum punch and C for crane kick. And you would think with being a special move, why not make that special move where you save it and you use it like in Mike Tyson's Punch Out, where you hit how to do the uppercut you hit start.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're not using the select button, make the select button the special move in order to use the crane kick or the drum punch. But no, it's like you get the drum punch and the crane kick, you instantly do them to the most lamest enemy. Like, what's the point of even collecting them? Because you're just going to immediately, there's no way to store it. There's no way to hold on to it for later. You just use it as soon as you get it. And it's like, what is the point of this?
So let me ask you this. Is there anything redeemable about this game? Like, is there anything good about it?
I mean, I did have a bit of nostalgia for this game because I did play this game when I was a kid. This is one of the games that I remember borrowing from a friend of mine, my friend Brian, when I was in from like 4th to 6th grade. I knew this kid Brian. We used to hang out all the time, and I used to borrow his NES games because his parents were rich, and he had like a billion NES games, so he would just let me borrow stuff. And I remember I borrowed this and Rambo from him. And I remember I couldn't understand Rambo. Like, I played it for a while and I was like, I don't understand this game at all. That's why I want to review that one too, because that one is basically kind of like Castlevania 2. Like, it's a lot of... it's not linear at all. So I'm going to have to go back and play that game again. But this game, I did enjoy it as a kid. I played it a lot because I do like the little extra mini games you get to play in the game. Like, you're going through the level and you can jump into like doorways of the huts that you pass by. You know, if there's an open door, you can jump into it and you get to play like a mini game. And mini game is either the scene in the movie where he breaks the ice. And it's one of those where it has like the power meter, and you have to wait till the power meter gets all the way up, and then you hit the button and it'll break the ice. You get extra points for doing that. And of course, it's a point system in the game, so you get like extra lives and stuff when you get hit like 10,000 points or whatever. And the other one is let me look at these. Where is
You catch the flies with the chopsticks.
Yeah, you catch flies with chopsticks, and that one's okay. It's not anything. I like the ice block thing the best. And then there's the dodging a swinging hammer, which I couldn't do as a kid. Still can't do it as an adult. I don't understand what you're supposed to do. I think I did it once, and on stream, you can go. I have the VOD up on my Twitch channel. You can still watch it for like another couple of days. I think I did it once, and I don't know what I did. I was literally just hitting buttons, and he ended up doing it. And I was like, oh, I did it. And then it swung back and knocked me in the water. I'm like, never mind.
Don't you love games like that where you figure something out and you're like, I have no clue how I did it.
I don't know how
but I did
it,
so that's really all that matters.
But yeah, you go through the second level and you fight Chosen. And then you get to the third level. And this is where, do you remember the typhoon in the movie? Mm-hmm. When the typhoon hits Okinawa. So basically you're going through the game and you're going through the same village fighting bad guys, but now you have to worry about birds flying into you. And then there's like flying debris you have to dodge or punch out of the air while you're walking. And but the thing is, like that doesn't do damage to you. Like the birds running into you doesn't do any damage to you. It does cause knockback, which guess what? Knocks you into the freaking holes in the ground, so you die. And then like you try to jump while the wind's blowing, and it's without the use of a jump button or any. And it's like Daniel. It weighs 1,000 pounds. It's kind of like as much as I love Castlevania, but you know how bad you remember how bad the jumping is in the original Castlevania game? It's almost like Simon weighs like 1,000 pounds. It's exactly like that in here. Like there's no nuance to the jump like in Mario or games like that. It's like you jump, you're committed to that jump. And most of the time it's a bad jump. Like you're just gonna fall in a hole somewhere.
I love how this game is like it's a platformer, but it's not a platformer.
Yeah. It's a platformer without a jump button. So thanks, LJN, for not giving us the key component that you need to survive in a platformer is no jump button.
This missing important trait brought to you by LJN.
And I can't speak to the end. I made it to the end of the level, but I didn't get to get as far as the boss of the level. Couldn't get that far. And it says, the boss is still Chosen again for the third level. So way to go there, LJN, on your boss choices for the game. I didn't even make it to level 4, so I can't speak to it, but I imagine it's just as awful, if not more, than level 3.
You fight Chosen again.
Let's see.
Yeah, the final stage is the festival after the typhoon. Daniel wears a new outfit for the stage, and the random enemies are now tougher, requiring 2 hits to be felled.
Guess
the
what?
Final boss, once again Chosen, has a new twist.
Way to go, LJN. Bravo, LJN, for outdoing yourselves.
Golf clap.
Golf clap, everyone.
That's impressive, though, to have the same boss for 3 of the 4 levels in your game.
Can you imagine?
Why was this not called Karate Kid 2?
I know.
If literally, like, the only element from the first movie is the All Valley tournament. Then you go to Okinawa, and then it should have just been called Karate Kid Part Two. It would have been much more interesting if they just followed the events of the first movie, and it ended with you having to go through Cobra Kai and the All Valley tournament.
Yeah, it would make more sense if they would have put this game out and it was sort of like remember Back to the Future 2 and 3? I think didn't they put those two out together on one cartridge and it was two games in one or something like that?
I think so.
They could have done that with this. Like they could have done like a whole Karate Kid game at the beginning and then the last 3 levels be Karate Kid 2. And that would have made so much sense. And why? Why would I
I'm
just don't
telling you,
get
if
it.
they had done this as a side-scrolling beat 'em up, you could play as either Daniel or Mr. Miyagi, or if you got two players, you could play as both Daniel and Mr. Miyagi, and then you whoop up on Cobra Kai.
Dude,
It's a
that's
fun game.
such a good idea. Like you have a almost like the Ninja Turtles where you can switch back and forth between Daniel and Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
Why not? Like that's such a
I I would play that now if they did a Cobra Kai side-scrolling beat 'em up, but you'd have to make Miyagi unlockable, and
yeah.
he's just completely broken. Like he's immortal. Like you cannot beat him, and he just kills everybody in one hit.
That sounds like a so much better game. I would rather play that one.
I if they did that, if they released a Cobra Kai beat 'em up, I would absolutely get it.
And I'm gonna say like there's nothing wrong visually with this game. I mean, they could have done a little better with making the characters look like they're on screen, like they're
Like
movie
make Johnny
characters.
Lawrence look like Johnny Lawrence.
Because the graphics in this game really aren't that bad. I mean, they're not great, but they're that early to mid NES level graphics where they're kind of decent, but they could have been better. But if they would have just put a little more time and effort into this would have been a good game.
I think so too. It's the more I think about this game, the more I think of just the missed opportunities, and it's unfortunately a lot of the adaptations of games from that or movies from that era, like the technology just wasn't quite there, the ideas weren't there,
I'll
and I
say
feel like you had much more misses than hits, it seems like.
you hit the nail on the head. I will say the same thing about this game that I said about Friday the 13th. There's a good game in there, but it gets in its own way. And that's the problem with all these LJN games.
Make a modern Friday the 13th game where you play as Jason and you just slaughter teenagers.
Yeah.
That's it's not rocket science. It's really not.
Like if I could take this game, I guarantee if I could wish I could program because I would literally just take this game and give it a jump button. Because if you gave this game a jump button, it would make it so much better.
I think
Because
so.
how do you have a platformer without a jump button? Like really?
It's like making a fighting game without the ability to punch or kick.
Yeah. I
That would have been LJN's next game. They make a fighting game, but all you do is jump.
like imagine playing a Mario game with no jump button.
Mm.
Like imagine playing like even Double Dragon had a jump button and it's a fighting game and it's way more complex than this game is and they made it work. I'm like why didn't you just take that control scheme and add it to this game?
Because it would have made too much sense.
I'm just for nostalgia purposes alone. I have to give this game. I'm actually was there are there any? No, there aren't any. Yeah, this was way before there were any reviews for games because this came out in 80. What year did this come out?
87.
Doesn't have an exact release date, but it says 87. So there's no metadata on reviews for this game. For me personally, I'll give it a 5 just for sheer nostalgia factor because I did like this game as a kid, but as an adult, it is a hot garbage fire. But like I said, it's the same thing as I mean, it's one of those games that like I feel like it needs to be in your collection because it is like even though these LJN games are bad, they're still a huge part of the Nintendo history. And I think it's because these games are so bad that like there's a what am I trying to say? There's like a reverence for them because they're so bad.
It's almost like there's a certain fandom that likes bad games.
Yeah,
Is I
and
think what you're trying to say.
because the look at the box art. Like the box art for this game is gorgeous. Like it just
Hmm.
makes you want to play it. Like I see this box art, I'm like I'm gonna play this. Like you see that on if you're. I was 10 years old when this game came out. If you were 10, go back to your 10-year-old Derek self. All right, right now let's go back in the Wayback Machine. Little 10-year-old Derek. He's walking through Kmart or Walmart or Toys R Us, and you're looking for a Nintendo game, and you see this hanging on the shelf. What do you think?
Oh, I'd want to play it, because I love the movie growing up, so I would see that and like, oh, Karate Kid game, cool, I want to play that.
Yeah, so you beg your mom to shell out 35, $40 for this game at the time, and you get it home and you play this game that is a platformer with no jump button and you don't have an NES advantage like the rich kids, you're going to be disappointed. So I don't know. I'll give it a 5 just because it's Karate Kid, and I do have some nostalgia for this game, but man, this game is not enjoyable at all. It's enjoyable in the fact that I to stream it, it's so bad that it's just you can't do anything but laugh, especially like when you're. I might try to find that in the VOD and make a GIF of it or something when you spawn at that point and you just literally just fall right into the hole because it's so ridiculously stupid. Like, why would you leave this in the game? Like, somebody had to catch this. Like, this, why would you leave this in?
Because it's LJN.
It's LJN. Dun dun dun.
That's all the explanation you need for any of this stuff is, well, it's LJN. And that's for those of you that know, you're like, okay, that makes sense. Say no more.
But yeah, that's my review of the Karate Kid. It was an adventure, is what all I can say. It was a fun couple hours on stream, but I can honestly say right now, I will never, ever play this game again.
I think the best way we could sum this up is it's a game.
It's a game. Yeah, I'll say that. It's not much of one, but it's a game.
Instead, go get some real good nostalgia and watch the new season of Cobra Kai
Yeah,
instead.
I'm like on episode 5 right now, so I'm taking my time with it this season.
That's good. I mean, I finished it. Let's see, it came out on a Friday, so I think I watched half of it that night and then finished the next half of it. But for us, it's one of those shows that we'll have on as background noise,
Yeah.
so I'll end up seeing it multiple times. But I really liked it. I thought it was a really good season.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it. Maybe we should do just a quick review of Cobra Kai so far. I don't know. We'll think about what we're gonna do for
Yeah,
our because we have to do. I don't like we were talking before. If you're a patron, please forgive us. It's just been a busy couple of months, and we may not get to a commentary track this month, so we may just do a review of something. We're not sure yet, but we'll get something out for you. We'll
we'll
make
figure it
something
out.
happen. But that's it for this week. Tell everybody what's going on with Feature Presentation Podcast.
Yep. So feature presentation live tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time over on the YouTube machine. Just search for feature presentation with Derek Diamond. Tonight, I'll be chatting with director Jen Page, who has worked in over 130 different projects, directed over 130 different projects, including a few widely released feature films, has also worked on music videos for bands such as Fall Out Boy and Weezer.
Nice.
And funny enough, I will actually be, I don't know if I'm doing her podcast or just doing a Facebook Live, but I'm going to be doing a show with her later this week about filmmaking outside of Los Angeles, and that'll be, I think, Wednesday at 5:30 Central Time. But I'll let everyone know. Just follow me on Twitter at Derek_Diamond to find out more information on that and to follow the show at Feature Press Pod on all social media. And if you want to follow my short film, it's at the Feature Movie. This week, I'm going to start doing this fun little marketing campaign where I'm going to post a photo a day, whether it's behind the scenes or screen caps from the actual movie. So yeah, go do that.
And for open micers tonight, we're going to be talking to comedian Ariel Elias, and she's a very funny lady. We've had some really good guests on the past couple of months. We've done a couple of good hostful episodes that have been fun. So go check us out at Open Micers on Twitter and Instagram. And I want to say, going back to the Clerks 3 thing, if you watch Clerks 3 and you want to see a movie where Brian O'Halloran won a Best Actor award at the Hang On to Your Shorts Film Festival, go check out Monsters Anonymous, because it's that time of year. It's almost October, and Monsters Anonymous is now available for free on YouTube. So go follow at Help the Monsters on Twitter, and then just follow the link to the YouTube page and give us a watch, a thumbs up, and share us with everybody you know, because it is a great Halloween, October, spooky time of the year movie to watch.
Well, and I'll even add on to that, it's just a great movie. You know, you can watch it anytime during the year, but this time of year, especially with Halloween, it's perfect. But no, if you haven't seen it, it's a very, very good movie.
And then after that, in the same playlist, we have the commentary that me and Wally did with Brian O'Halloran, where we watched Monsters Anonymous and we commentated on it. That's on the same YouTube channel and playlist as well. So go check those out. And I think that's about it. What do you say?
I think so.
Let's get out of here. If you would like to email us, you can email us at nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. And for everything else, our Facebook, our Twitter, Instagram, our merch site, all that stuff, just go to nerdcaveretro.com. That takes you straight to our link tree. And I think there's a sale going on in our merch store right now at ncrmerch.com. Go get yourself a t-shirt, a mug, a button, a magnet, sticker, whatever you need. It's right there where you need it. And also patreon.com/nerdcaveretro, where as little as $1 a month will get you access to our news dump that me and Wally do. And yeah, just go over there, give us a couple of bucks a month if you can. And if you can't do that, I understand. Times are tough. Leave us a review wherever fine podcasts are given away for free. So Derek, please tell them what it's all about.
May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce.
Yes.
Monkey!
And that's an episode.
I should have done a Karate Kid quote.
I know. I should have captured something from Karate Kid.
Damn it.
I need to go capture something. Put him in a body bag.
That was my thing. Get him a body bag. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to go in the stream now. Thank you guys for watching. And I'll be back in a little while for open micers. And we will see you guys next week.